Hello and welcome back to the Motorsport Baithak podcast. I'm your host DD, and joining me today once again is my friend and your co-host Vedant. On this episode, we'll be previewing the last two races of the F1 2021 Championship. So let's grab some chai, take our seats, ready our opinions, and dive right into the conversation. Hello Vedant, it's finally that time of the year, and there's a different excitement for the last two races this year compared to all of the other years
Yeah,
since 2014.
absolutely.
And I just can't wait. And but I'm already like seeing ahead of it and feeling sad that there won't be any Formula One for 3 months between when this thing ends and when we go preseason testing in March. But let's enjoy what we have to come for the next couple of weeks and make the most of it. Um, the number one question I think that everyone has going into this next weekend, Vedant, is will the Jeddah street circuit be complete? There hasn't been any news from anywhere. Maybe there's something on Twitter that I haven't come across, but nothing in the headlines. It seems that we're still going racing, but who knows what's going on? I'm hoping, once at least the journalists land in Jeddah, once the F1 TV crew lands in Jeddah, we'll see some more pictures on Twitter from them. But what are your thoughts? Because Jeddah being the fastest street circuit on the calendar, safety is a paramount issue going into this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we haven't seen a lot of news about it not being completed, and the prospect, like we saw it, but in the recent 2 weeks there hasn't been any news. So all signs point to the direction that it will get completed in time. I think even FIA and Michael Massey did put out a statement that said that it will get completed in time. So that is good news. But yes, absolutely, the fastest street circuit with a lot of fast corners, and if and it's too narrow. There is not a lot of runoff area, so safety
It's like Baku
yeah,
basically. There's practically no runoff.
and yeah, safety is definitely the most important thing, especially in Jeddah. So hopefully the FIA will obviously conduct a few more inspections before Thursday, most likely. So yeah, we'll have a clearer picture on Thursday.
Yeah, let's see. And I'm pretty sure, once we record this podcast, there'll be much more news coming
Yeah,
out as soon as we stop recording, as
yeah,
as it always happens.
yeah,
But yeah, now obviously going into this weekend, Verstappen has an unlikely mathematical chance to steal the title in Saudi, and that is if there's obviously a couple scenarios. The first scenario is where he finishes first with a fastest lap point, and Hamilton finishes lower than fifth. And the second scenario is where Verstappen finishes first without the fastest lap point, and Hamilton finishes below six in the first scenario, and the next scenario is where Hamilton. God, I'm getting this confused. But yeah, mathematically, Verstappen can win this weekend
yeah.
if he finishes
He
first, and
like
Hamilton's not in the top five.
he has to finish first or second, and Hamilton has to finish below fifth
I
something.
think below sixth or
Yeah,
ninth.
and
Yeah,
if
yeah,
Verstappen
something like that.
finishes third, then it will go to Saudi. So
Absolutely, yeah, that
go
is true.
to
If
Abu
Verstappen
Dhabi.
finishes third,
Sorry.
then it'll definitely go to Abu
Yeah.
Dhabi. Yes, that is true. But very unlikely, given Hamilton's spicy engine, as Toto Wolff put it, will
Yeah.
be in the car, in Saudi and Abu Dhabi. It is unlikely that, Verstappen and Red Bull will come out on top given their, rear wing and setup issues that they have. Red Bull was still struggling with their DRS actuator out in Qatar. So it's unlikely, obviously they would have sorted out the issue the last 2 weeks, but it's unlikely they can get on top, especially given it's a new track, this weekend in Saudi. But the question is, people have been talking about, Hamilton's going to be the fastest driver out there and whatnot, and the engine has been prepared specially for this title battle, but. I'm still skeptical. They're pushing the engine, but we've seen Mercedes engines struggle a lot after a couple of races and have a lot of reliability issues. We saw Valtteri Bottas recently. We saw Daniel Ricciardo, even Lando Norris had to retire, multiple retirements from Mercedes engine cars. So I won't be surprised if Hamilton has an engine problem again at some point during the weekend.
Well, yeah, that's true. And even if he does not have an engine problem, but the slightest of issues with the engine, if they need to tone it down or lift and coast or whatever things they might have to do to mitigate the issues. At the end of the day, Lewis Hamilton needs 2 wins, sure and sure, to win that championship, and Max Verstappen needs only 1 win because their points difference is now around 8 points. So, yeah, it comes down to that, right? So, winning two wins is much difficult than 1 victory, right? So, yeah, it's going
Absolutely,
to be
but
very,
given
very
how
difficult for
Lewis has come
Mercedes.
back from Brazil, and given that Mercedes are in a better position pace wise, I think Lewis is the title favorite at this
Yeah,
point in the
that's true. That's
championship.
true.
Regardless of who I want to win, I feel Lewis is the
Oh,
title
you have
favorite
to
at
tell
this
me
point.
this weekend, man.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that at the end. But I think we're also taking bets on whether or not Toto and Christian Horner will fight again this weekend. When I say fight, I mean are we at a point where one of them is going to throw their hands at each other or at someone else? Christian Horner is much closer than Toto Wolff, I feel.
Yeah, that
But
definitely.
we might see Toto Wolff breaking a table or two finally this weekend. Send that karate chop through instead of just slapping the table.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying that their battle, their rivalry has been more of a factor this season than maybe Max and Lewis is, right? Because they have fought pretty harsh at places, and like it's not very nice to see these
Yeah,
things.
that's what I
in-
was gonna say. I was gonna say it's not very entertaining in my opinion, but it's definitely more intense than the Lewis Max rivalry that is going on for some reason. But yeah, even down the order, things are heating up very very much. And while Verstappen or Mercedes, may not be able to seal a championship because Mercedes mathematically can seal the constructors championship
Yeah.
in Saudi if they outscore Red Bull by 40 points, which is probably not gonna happen. But Ferrari need to outscore McLaren by only 5 points to secure third place in the constructors championship. I think that might just happen this weekend if Ferrari can stay on top of their tire struggles.
Yeah, that can actually happen. I mean, if both Ferraris finish ahead of both McLarens, they will get those 5 extra points, regardless, right?
Absolutely, but we need to remember the fact that especially after the performance that we saw in Qatar from Alpine and Aston Martin, given that this is a fast-paced circuit, I wouldn't be surprised if both those teams who showed pretty good pace, in what was a pretty fast-paced circuit in Qatar, that they might also challenge for those best of the rest points and make it harder for Ferrari and McLaren in Saudi and maybe also in Abu Dhabi. But not just the constructors, even Lando, Charles, and Carlos are separated by only 8.5 points for fifth place in the Drivers' Championship. How exciting is that? But I remember also, it's also kind of sad because I remember there was a point in the championship where we were talking about Lando might just get third in the championship after his,
Yeah.
insane start to the season. But now he's fighting for fifth, and looks like an underdog for fifth. In fact, given the fact that the Ferraris are on song right now.
Yeah, I think Lando Norris has scored less than half of the points he scored in the in the first half, than in the second half. So it's a pretty difficult time for McLaren. But Daniel Ricciardo, on the other hand, has started to get up to speed and match Lando Norris in that intra-team battle. So it's not all bad. But yeah, that fight.
Yeah, Daniel had a weird issue in Qatar too. He had some fuel sensor issue or something, so he had to lift and coast, which is why he was so off the pace. And we didn't learn about that until a couple of days later.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, this fight for P5 again, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris separated by just 1 point. This is going to be epic because the points they are fighting for, the positions they are fighting for, are separated by 2 points, 8 points and 10 points and things like that. So it's going to be very interesting in these two races.
Absolutely. But AlphaTauri, obviously they had a disappointing weekend in Qatar and are lacking race pace compared to, like I said earlier, Alpine in the fight for sixth in the Constructors' Championship. Obviously, Fernando Alonso's podium. fifth in the championship. Obviously, Fernando Alonso's podium and Esteban Ocon's fifth place in Qatar put Alpine 25 points ahead of AlphaTauri. But I would say on pace, AlphaTauri still look favored. But we have discussed this, earlier that operationally, AlphaTauri are not the best team out there, and they usually have a tough time putting a weekend together.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a new circuit, like no team has any data on this circuit as of yet, apart from whatever simulations they might have done. So the experience and the ability to learn this track is going to be key, and that's where I think Alpine can shine with Fernando Alonso's experience and just the experience that Alpine, the Renault team itself, the operationally they have.
Yeah, and although we haven't heard much, because earlier in the year when Davide Brivio joined from Suzuki, when he joined Alpine, there was a lot of noise on how he can really bring about change. But we haven't really heard from the team from within the team as how Davide Brivio has contributed to that. Obviously, Alpine hasn't had the best run in the championship so far this year, but the last race, and then they had a one-off in Hungary where Esteban won. So they have had a couple major highs, but nothing very consistent like Ferrari or McLaren throughout the course of the season.
I mean, there were rumors like a month back that Davide might go back to Suzuki.
yeah. When the MotoGP championship was coming to a close, that's true. But yeah. And talking about Davide Brivio moving places again and again, Aston Martin also roped in Mercedes chief aerodynamicist Eric Blandon, and he will be joining the team towards the end of the 2022 season. And this is only one recruitment amongst
a plethora
flurry of recruitments that Aston Martin have made over the last year in order to become Stroll Senior's championship winning team over the next few years. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously, Eric will be on gardening leave at the end of this season. He won't be working in Formula 1 for almost a year, and then he'll be finally joining Aston Martin at the end of the 2022 season. So we'll only see, I guess, big changes coming into the AlphaTauri management and workforce towards the 2022 season, and we'll see the effects of the changes that are being made right now, the recruitments that are being made in the 2023 season, really, and not in the 2022 season. But yeah. And let's talk about Jeddah a little bit. Just let me just outline some facts which I'm pretty sure people already know, because the commentators have been talking about it over and over again at every race. So Jeddah, obviously, like we said, fastest street circuit of the calendar, second to Spa-Francorchamps on length, only 800 meters shorter at 6.175 kilometers. This is a circuit with the most turns, although I would not classify half of them as turns.
Absolutely.
At 27 turns. The average speed is at 155 miles per hour, obviously simulated, and the top speed is set to be 200 miles per hour. The hairpin in Jeddah is banked at 12 degrees, which is 3 degrees more than the bankings at the Indianapolis Speedway. And there's 13 kilometers of catch fencing, 3,300 pieces of concrete wall, and 3,000 Tech Pro barriers, which will be put in place for safety measures around the circuit. But I think the point that sticks out for me regarding the Jeddah circuit is that 7 F1 teams worked with Tilke, who designed the track with overtaking in mind. And this is straight from the F1 blog post. I'm pulling this here. So 7 F1 teams worked with Tilke, who designed the track with overtaking in mind. The focus was on quality passing rather than DRS assisted overtakes. Now, the field, obviously there's Red Bull and Mercedes, and then there's Ferrari, McLaren, Alpine, AlphaTauri. And so we have like 3 different, categories in F1 right now.
Yeah.
So if we don't see great racing in Jeddah after the circuit has specifically been designed for these cars, as for quality overtakes, I don't really know what the F1 teams and especially Tilke has done behind the scenes, and clearly whatever circuit design methodology that the industry is using is definitely not working out. So this will be a great test for me, at least. This is what I'll be looking out for as a point. And in the same news regarding Jeddah, So the Saudi Automobile and Motorcycle Federation, you must have seen, made the largest Lego F1 car built ever with over 500,000 bricks. But they made it green. In
In
obviously
the
that was in
yeah
conjunction with the F1 hybrid marketing campaign that is going on. But even then, green, not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. But we should also not forget the changes that have been made to Abu Dhabi street circuit, not street circuit, Abu Dhabi circuit, to improve racing. It is also street circuit, I guess. But obviously the hairpin is, we don't have turns 4 and 5. You just have, a larger radius hairpin, and then there's changes been made to sector 3 to, improve racing and improve the fluidity of the circuit,
yeah
per se. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes anything, regarding the racing around that track. And it was also nice to see Stefano Domenicali say that F1 can have a positive impact regarding the human rights issue in Saudi Arabia. I hope so. We haven't seen any concrete plans from F1 to tackle these issues or address them straight away. Unlike the different things that we've seen over the last couple of years, that V-Race has won, and other gestures at least in that point towards a certain human rights issue that F1 is talking about or increasing awareness about. But obviously Saudi Arabia remains a controversial point. But I feel so do other places that F1 visits remain a controversial point. Would we still go out there and enjoy our racing? Whether that be China or any other country. We're supposed to go to Vietnam. But
yeah that's absolutely true. And I mean, Bahrain has good racing, and no one complains about it because it has good racing. But at the end of the day, I mean, and I know this will get a little political, but like all the sports organizers that have been organizing sports in these countries defend themselves by saying that we will have a positive impact by hosting these sports, and we are having that the World Cup in FIFA World Cup in next year, right, in Qatar.
Yeah, exactly. You have FIFA World Cup next year in Qatar, but we also have to remember, like it was the same message with the Olympics, right? That it's a place where people come together regardless of whatever happens, externally. It's like there's like a bubble for whatever time period it is, because that's what happened with the Olympics back when back when the modern Olympics started. It all went through during the World War I, World War II. That was not stopped, right?
Yeah.
And we still had Hitler attending it and everything, but so yeah, it just depends on how people want to approach it and how F1 addresses the issues that there are. But the biggest news coming out of this weekend, obviously, was Sir Frank Williams passing away at the age of 79 this past weekend. Obviously, very very disheartening. And very shortly after, the Williams family sold the Williams racing team to the Dorilton Capital Company. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we had anyone like Sir Frank Williams in F1. He not only had one, but he had two teams in F1. And one of them became very, very successful. Obviously, there were ups and downs, but a very, very successful F1 career. And I think the only person who would come close as a, whose success would come close as a privateer compared to Sir Frank Williams would be Bruce McLaren. But, Bruce McLaren was already racing, but Sir Frank Williams was a constructor through and through, a privateer. And it's just sad.
Yeah, and I mean, we were not, we did not watch Williams at their peak, right? When we started watching Formula 1, Williams was not having the best times. In 2015 and 16, they did have good seasons.
Couple third place finishes,
yeah. But we never saw Williams on the peak. But when we look at old races and when we read stories, the Williams team and the Williams family and how Sir Frank Williams operated that team, and the complete Frank Williams story. And I tweeted this out, and I don't know, no one liked the tweet or anything, but this is what I believe, that the complete Frank Williams story is what motorsports is all about. The perseverance, the success, the glory, the failures, the tragedy, and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't have put it better. But yeah, I mean, everyone dreams of owning an F1 team, running an F1 team, and Sir Frank Williams is one of those people who realized that dream and lived it throughout his life. So a lot to celebrate.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's
absolutely.
that's all
Absolutely.
from my side regarding Formula One this weekend. Really excited to go into the last doubleheader, last two races of the season, and see who comes out on top. Vedant, regarding question who I want to win, I'd like to see Max Verstappen win too, but that's not because I don't like Lewis Hamilton or anything like that. It's just a personal preference, and I think. Obviously, Lewis and Max are in a different position. Lewis is defending his um, eighth title, win
Yeah.
almost. Whereas Max is charging for his first title, and I think the way they're approaching racing is different. I really enjoy the way Max is approaching his racing, even on the weekends. He knows that he doesn't have the best car. He's having fun out there, and I find it really enjoyable the way he has approached this season, knowing that it's gonna be close from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah,
That's true. And I mean, we have seen a completely different Max Verstappen this season, and
absolutely.
yeah, that just that just shows it, a different side of him that can stay calm and fight for the championship. Yep.
Exactly. But yeah, really excited. Now we shouldn't forget that F1 is not the only championship coming to a close. We have Formula 2 going to Saudi and Abu Dhabi for their last two rounds, last six races of the season. And I'll let Vedant take over from there. But definitely an exciting season this time around.
Well, yeah, Oscar Piastri obviously leads Guan Yu Zhou by 36 points, a substantial lead in Formula 2 standards, but one that,
But six races to
yeah,
go.
that's what one
It can vanish very
it can
quickly.
vanish very quickly. Robert Schwartzman and Dan Ticknam are close behind, and I believe they are the only two realistic, championship contenders mathematically.
Mathematical championship. Yeah.
But yeah, even Jeddah circuit is new for everyone. Even Yas Marina circuit is new for a lot of drivers because we did not race there in 2020, and like Formula 2 drivers shuffle every year. So only the drivers who raced in 2019 would know the circuit, and that's comparatively low basically. But Jehan Daruwala is 7th in the championship, sandwiched between both his Red Bull Academy teammates, Yuri Vips and Liam Lawson, and he can actually potentially beat both of them and finish 6th or 5th in the championship, but beat both of them and be the leading Red Bull Academy driver in Formula 2 basically. That might earn
Yeah.
him a Formula 1 test practice session maybe.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, the young driver test is also coming up in Abu
Yeah.
Dhabi after the season finale. So yeah, if he definitely if he comes out on top in the Red Bull Academy amongst the Red Bull Academy juniors, it'll be a big up for Jehan Daruwala, especially compared to Liam Lawson, who's had a great year in DTM this year. And was the title favorite if
Like he was
for
the title
everyone.
favorite. Yeah. That is another
So yeah,
story.
it'll definitely be a big up for Jehan, for whom it's been a very roller coaster like season. But yeah,
Yeah, well,
you want to talk about
yeah,
Formula E now?
yeah, we've all
Okay.
like Formula E is also having their pre-season testing going on this week. Antonio Giovinazzi.
The season starts in January, right?
Yeah, the season starts in January 28th and 29th in Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia. But
Yep.
Antonio Giovinazzi tested for Dragon Racing, his new team after Formula 1. And Oliver Askew and Dan Ticknam also tested for their new teams, Andretti and Neo. Now we only have, 1 day of results right now. And I think Sam Bird topped the timings, but both the Mercedes, the reigning champions, were dead last. So that tells us basically nothing. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, it depends on if because a lot of teams brought new technology, or upgraded whatever motors
Yeah.
and whatever tech they were using last season. So I don't know what the technology, what the tech upgrade will be this year if the teams are doing that, because obviously Gen 3 is coming in
Next season. Yep.
the season
Yeah.
after, yeah. So, and which is basically 2022 really, because the season starts during the latter half of the year. But I wanted to take your opinion on Antonio Giovinazzi joining Formula E, and what do you think about that? Because I feel Oliver Askew, who's come from like an IndyCar background, and Dan Ticktum, who's a very aggressive racer, I think they'll fit right in. But what about Antonio Giovinazzi? We haven't seen him, put in a lot of overtakes in F1. We've seen him screw up a lot of times when he's scoring points. So, what do you think about Antonio Giovinazzi going to Formula E?
Well, I think it's a good prospect basically for dragon racing. At least they get a Formula One level driver, right? Basically, so it's interesting. It will get difficult because Formula E is a very very difficult series if you cannot get your elbows out. So it will definitely be difficult for Giovinazzi, but I do not think this is his long term goal and his long term path.
Yeah.
Because with Ferrari getting in that LMDH program, I think he'll jump straight right in, and he has done some endurance racing for Ferrari previously in the GTA class.
Yep.
So that is a perfect match.
And we also need to remember the fact that there will be overlap with IMSA and WEC for a lot of the teams in the coming future. So the number of races in the endurance championship is going up and up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is great.
Absolutely, and they can do a complete season of endurance racing rather than dividing their time between Formula E, endurance, DTM, and all these things. So that is going to be great, and I think Giovinazzi can do some GT racing for Ferrari this season as well in WEC with the AF Corsa team. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see Oliver Askew and Dan Ticktum, join the grid.
Dan Ticktum will be a very very interesting prospect in Formula E. That is going to be fireworks.
He's always in the news when he was in junior Formula. So who knows what's gonna happen in Formula E. I hope he doesn't cross the line.
Yeah.
Like we've known him to do a couple times in the past, but it'll definitely be great racing though. Considering the kind of moves he puts in on anyone and everyone. But yeah, that's all from our side. Thank you for listening to us, and thank you, Vedant, for joining me once again, previewing this F1 2021 season for the last time. Next time you hear from us, it'll be after the Saudi Arabia GP, and we'll be excited for Abu Dhabi, hopefully, with both Max and Lewis on level points. Yes, that is what I want going into Abu Dhabi. But yeah, really excited. Any final thoughts, Vedant?
Well, I just, I have one thought. I read an article from the race which said that, a fastest lap point can make this championship. I didn't read the whole article, but it was about that fastest lap point, that late pit stop and getting that fastest lap point. But yeah, if that happens, it would be bonkers. And I don't know how that.
But do you think? Yeah, how will you feel about it? Like, especially if Max or Lewis don't do it. Because if Max or Lewis do it, I'm guessing either Max has almost sealed the championship and is winning, or either of them are really really far ahead of the other, and have like a 30-second gap, and they can pit and get the fast lap for the win. But if Sergio and Valtteri do it, how would you feel about that? Would it like taint the championship a little bit for you?
Yeah, I mean it might. But
if you think
it would go badly with the thing that is Formula One, the fight that is Formula One. But
okay, I was about to. Sorry, go ahead.
Then again, it is part of the sport, and we have had it for 2 or 3 seasons already now. So yeah.
And I mean that it is a part of this year's championship, and it has made this year's championship that much more exciting and strategically challenging for the teams. The fastest lap point, and the way they have gone about it. Now, I was about to close this podcast, but now that we have started talking about this, what are the chances you think that Christian Horner will protest Mercedes revving at Abu Dhabi after the race? or like after qualifying or something.
Uh,
if they're not the fastest car there.
well, if he protests it, if he does it after the race in Abu Dhabi, after losing the championship,
Yeah.
I will lose all respect.
I don't think the FIA will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think FIA will.
FIA will not entertain it. But me personally, I will lose the last bit of respect I have for him.
That is the only thing that Christian Horner can do. I think that will make me want him to lose the championship. At all
Yeah.
costs.
I mean that would be ugly, like literally very ugly. So yeah.
Yeah. But that's finally all from our side. Thank you for joining us. There's always plenty to talk about, and we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, it's gonna be a great weekend. See ya.